What is going on, y'all? We are back with the Monday special. Want to wish everyone a very happy Easter if you celebrate it, and if not, just hope you had a good weekend. We're back and we're very excited. Austin FC played our first official match in La Copita. We played Houston. We lost 3-2. I honestly don't even care. What do you think, Avery?
Yeah, I mean, it was just really cool to see an official match. It was cool to see the fans out there who made it. Even though it was a closed match, people standing outside the St. David's
Mm-hmm.
Performance Center just watching the game. It was really cool to see some people watching an Austin FC game that actually counted for something, even if it's just a Texas Cup, which of course you'd like to win. Seriously, it was just awesome to see some games and see some footage, get to watch it live rather than just seeing the clips that Austin FC decided they wanted to send out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you said the fans there, they were making noise the entire time. You could hear them even over the little kind of webcam broadcast that was going on.
Right.
So good atmosphere for being 80 yards away and
Oh my,
and
I
peeking over a
know.
fence. So
I
not bad,
know.
not
I
bad.
I saw the drone footage of it, and I'll say they didn't have the best view in the world for a soccer game, but it's just the showing up was the most important thing.
I'll tell you what though, one of the things that really excited me about the match, and like we said last week, like this isn't about the result. It's about seeing how we play. It's about seeing how the players play together. It's about seeing how Josh Wolf can manage our team. And I was
Right.
actually very, very happy with it. I was happy especially with the style of play that we went for. I thought we did a really good job of being patient in possession and swinging the ball. So I think that a lot of teams will have the tendency, especially in their first game and they're hyped up to play and all this stuff, to try and force the ball forward and be very attacking because everybody wants an attacking side. We did a great job, I think, of really slowing play down whenever the counter wasn't on and switching the ball across our back line in their half
Right.
and making them do running, pivoting them. And I think to that end, um, Alex Ring really, really impressed me.
Yeah. No,
Um,
me too.
no,
Me
I
too.
think I think he did a great job of realizing whenever Houston was starting to close down one side, turning out and then spraying a ball across to the other side, whether it be to the winger or to our other outside back, and giving us time in possession to really look to pick apart Houston. And I think we did a really good job of wearing Houston down and getting them tired, and forcing them to make substitutions and frustrating them. Which for us, being a very young and new side is huge. It's huge to have that kind of composure. It's huge to have the ability to control the match and play it at the pace that you want to play it. Because tempo is a huge, huge important factor in soccer. I mean, we see,
Right.
I always go back to a Liverpool comparison, but whenever we see a team like Atletico that slows the game down and forces Liverpool to play slowly, they don't do anywhere near as well as if they're allowed to counterattack, right? So if we can control the tempo of matches and we want to play slowly and we want to, keep the ball and force the other team to run, that's an absolutely fantastic way to keep better teams from showing that they're better. And we're going to play a lot of better teams this year. So I'm
Right.
really happy with how we played.
Yeah. I thought we played all right. Obviously it was the first game, so it wasn't like I was expecting them to look amazing or anything. I wasn't exactly thrilled by how the defense looked at times.
Mhm.
It did seem like it was a little sloppy, which makes sense because half of defending is, communicating and experience and, trusting the guy to your right and left because, obviously we've seen you don't necessarily have to be an amazing athlete to be a great defender. So, it's a lot of just kind of, experience and meshing together and just having a few guys who are, who can know that I can trust the guy to the right of me or the left or whoever it may be. I thought the defense made a few mistakes that were probably correctable. I don't know. It wasn't like we kind of talked about. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but
Mhm.
I would say I was probably more impressed with the attack in the midfield than I was with the defense.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that you mentioned this. It's a lot about communication. It's a lot about
Yeah.
organization. It's a lot about being comfortable with your other players. So I'm not super worried about it. I think Matt Beasler is, like I said in the previous episode, is a huge, huge asset for us in terms of getting us
Right.
organized, being that voice in the back. I will say Cascante is slow as Like, I mean, like,
Yeah,
oh my gosh, man, he got absolutely burned for I think Houston's first goal. Like a 10 yard head start, still didn't get to the ball burn.
yeah,
So I'd like to see us to add a little bit of pace. Luckily, I don't think Cascante is going to end up being one of our starting center backs.
yeah. I don't think so
Um,
either.
but I'd like to see us add a little bit of pace, especially when we're playing in a way that's so possession heavy. When we have the ball in their half a lot, that opens us up to counterattacks because we've got our center back standing on the halfway line. That gives a
Right,
lot of space for the other team to run in behind. So
right,
we just need to be mindful of that. Maybe that also includes getting our keeper to step up a little bit and play a little more of a sweeper keeper role.
right. Of course.
I'm not sure how I feel about that because you really need a superstar keeper to play that and not
Yeah,
make a
he's a
ton of
good
mistakes.
athlete too.
Yeah,
Really good
yeah. So
athlete.
that's going to be another puzzle for Josh Wolf to look at and try and solve. But for the most part, like I said, I really liked how we looked going forward, and I think you agree with that. And
Yeah,
not so much the how clinical we were because I think we had some opportunities that went begging. But just as an overall tactical sense, I think we're building in the right way. And I'm really happy that we're not just playing kickball and trying to lump it into the corners and let our fast
right,
players, chase it down.
right. No,
Which
I
which
agree.
is always much easier to do. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
So
especially with a new team, but I think with the time that, Josh Wolf has had, obviously not necessarily with the players, but with Austin FC to be able to kind of think about, okay, what do I want to do? It wasn't like he was an assistant manager or an assistant coach and then he was thrown in and it's like, hey, your first match is next week. He had a lot of time to kind of think this through. And I think they probably spent a lot of time trying to pick their roster. And I would also be willing to bet that they probably had their eyes on some of these guys that we've signed for a long time now. It wasn't just like, hey, oh, that guy's available, let's go grab him. It was probably very meticulous, and he
mhm.
kind of had an idea of what style players he wanted to play into his system. So hopefully, he's had plenty of time to kind of think about how he wants to, you know, run his team as a manager.
Mhm. So before we move on to kind of our favorite players from the match, Pochettino's free kick, and I'll make sure to put it up here. We can have it up. Pochettino's free kick was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was nice.
Holy crap! That was a you talk about a postage stamp, man. That was about as far top bends as you can get without hitting the post, right? I mean, that was unbelievable.
And
First goal for Austin FC, first official goal for
right,
Austin FC was an absolute peach. So hopefully that's a premonition of things to come. I would love to see more Pochettino free kick goals this
right.
season. That is
I
a
think
that is a must.
right. I think that kind of really showed his I guess it showed his class. It showed that he's a very talented player, kind of
No,
like
he
what we kind of
is.
heard
Yeah.
about. It was a great like, oh, okay, like so he can do that. Like, like okay. So he's not, he's a very skillful, talented player that we have. So I'm
So
excited.
let's transition this into the players that caught your eye, and obviously Pochettino was one of them for me. I think he was apart from the free kick, he was super composed on the ball. He didn't
Right,
make a lot of mistakes. He was always looking for the ball, dropping into space, trying to get onto the ball and move it on quickly, which I love in an attacking player, especially is
right,
always looking to be part of the play. And he was making really smart runs. He wasn't just kind of turning tail and trying to get in behind the back line, which is easy to do. It's
yeah.
easy to just be like, oh, I want to get in behind, I want to get in for a one-on-one, but I think he played into the system of keeping the ball, trying to pick apart the team, move the ball side to side, make a smart pass. So he did a really good job. Who else did you see that really stood out for you?
Um, Obviously, I think Alex Ring would probably be the obvious one to say. He looked really good. I mean, I I don't even know what there is a whole lot to say about him because he's an experienced MLS player, an experienced player. He looked
Yeah,
like that,
as
He looked
advertised. Yeah.
exactly as advertised. He looked like he could have completely run the midfield for us and create and do kind of be our number 8 or number 6, depending kind of on the role that he ends up playing. But the
Mm.
guy the defenders look to get the ball, and then he gets the ball to someone like Pochettino sometimes, or he distributes the ball. But he's going to be playing obviously a lot deeper than Pochettino is. But yeah, I mean he looked really good. You can see Reina had him at NYCFC, and you
Mhm.
can see why they went out and got him because they clearly liked him quite a
Absolutely.
bit, and he looked really good.
Yeah, no, massive pickup there. I think there were some other players that caught my eye for not necessarily their total performance for the 90 minutes, but they did some things really well. So first of all, Danny Hosen, our number nine,
Mm-hmm.
I think he did a really good job of linking hold up play. He's a bigger dude, and he was able to check down to the ball and then get a pass off to one of our attacking midfielders in a good position, or lay it off to one of the wingers running through. So
Right.
I think he did a really good job of playing that number nine role. And I'm actually a very big fan of having a number nine that likes to drop in, hold play up, and then create,
Agreed.
as opposed to
Yeah.
just, a big number nine up top, the traditional, I would say, English style number nine, where it's just a big man up there to win headers, to flick it on or knock it down.
Right. Right.
Um, I'm not a
Yeah.
huge fan of that. I like a guy that can hold the ball up with his feet and play and pass
Right.
the ball around. So I think he did a really good job there. I'd like to see him get into more goal scoring positions and create more opportunities inside the box. But as far as build up play, I think he did a really good job.
Right. Yeah. And I honestly, I think he's a pretty solid pickup. I know he didn't exactly, he wasn't exactly amazing at San Jose.
Mhm.
But I still think he's a solid player when you can look at his history. He's played for some big clubs. He's obviously very talented. And I think another player that really stood out to me was Rodney Redes. I don't think he hasn't exactly been like I don't know, amazing, but I think he's been good. I think he's been very involved in creating
Mhm.
chances and
Mhm.
very involved in a lot of our goals, whether he's scoring or assisting. I think he's a little. It seems like he's kind of like a little spark plug too. Like he's not the biggest guy. I mean, like height wise, but it
Mhm.
just seems like he kind of just like and he gets in there and he's fast and get in behind defenses. He can create. I like what I see from him from a young player who had really he's played for obviously Guarani and Paraguay, but this is a big step for him to another country, to a better league. I have some decently high expectations for him. I've liked what I've seen so far.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree. I think that Rodney is one of those guys that is super scrappy. He works his
Right,
butt off every single play for 90 minutes. And he has a knack for being in the right place at the right time. You know what I mean? So he's always in the right place. He's always making that run. He's darting in behind defenders. He's chasing down balls that may look like errant passes. He's doing the little stuff, the hard work in between that may not necessarily make the headlines, but just makes us that little bit better. You know what I mean? He's doing
right,
the stuff that no one else wants to do, and because of that, he's creating opportunities that shouldn't be opportunities, right? And that's a
right.
huge asset to have. Like I said with Hosen. I'd like to see him be a little more clinical, and I think that will just come with game experience, and
Yeah,
getting more time with the guys and getting more time with the team and the setup. Um, so I'm really excited about what Redis is doing, and like you said, I think he's a spark plug.
right.
Speaking of another spark plug, though, I think that John Gallagher actually really impressed me a lot.
Yeah,
I think he came in and kind of did the same thing. He was chasing down balls, and he was subbed on in the second half, I believe, around the 60th minute. I could be wrong about that, but he came in and immediately raised the energy levels. He came off the bench and was chasing everything down. He was challenging for every ball, and he got in behind almost immediately. His first touch was a shot on goal, and he beat the keeper, and a defender came and cleared it off the line. So,
right.
dude, dude's a gamer. Dude is definitely a gamer. Little undersized to play center forward. I would like to see how we use him, maybe in like a Jota like role where he can go and play on the wing. He can play in the center forward. He
Right.
can drop into the midfield. But he's one of those guys that gives us lots of pace, lots of energy, lots of you know I keep saying spark plug, but he is. He gives us a spark. He by busting his butt every play, he inspires the guys around him to be like, well,
Right.
John's going after it. I have to cover with him. I'll get up with
100%.
him. It sometimes it takes that one guy to make that run that no one else wants to make, to bring the team with you, to lead the charge. You know what I mean? So I
Right.
think he's a huge asset to have. I love having guys like that will inspire the rest of the team. They don't necessarily need to be the best players on the ball. We've got guys like Pochettino for that. They need to
Right.
be guys that bring the energy and do the dirty work, because the dirty work is what win games. You got to
Yeah.
put the guys like Pochettino in the spot to where they can do their thing. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think that's a hugely underrated quality in a player, and I'm really happy with Redes and John Gallagher for that.
Yeah.
And I
I
think
think
that like both of those guys, I think they can be just a little bit more clinical, a little bit more sharp. But that's just going to come with game experience. So it's
right.
unfair to really get on them now about it.
Well, I think too, if you look at John Gallagher's career as well, he's not a super old player by any means.
No,
He's
no.
only 25, but if you look at his career too, he has played all over the place. I mean, he's
Hmm.
played games at left wing, right wing. He's played forward. He's played attack mid. He's played center. He's even played a decent amount of games at right back as well.
Really, I didn't know
Yeah,
that. Wow.
so
Uh,
he's a very versatile player. We'll have to kind of see where where he ends up falling. It's one of those things where it's like it's nice to be versatile, but then he kind of gets thrown in every single position when people need cover. But it's nice to have players like that. I think he's a solid player. But on the flip side, uh, is there a player? Well, I know I have one in mind, but do you have a player in mind who you wish you might have seen a little bit more from in the first game?
oh man. Um, I would like to see Kakuta more. I'm a big fan of Kakuta. I think he
Okay,
brings a lot of pace and he's just a danger. I think you lose a little bit of interplay with Kakuta because I think
right.
he's a very direct player, but he's so dangerous in the attacking third. I mean, we saw him put that. I mean, granted, it was a younger guy for Houston that was getting his first couple minutes for the first team, but he put him on his butt in the box. Like, I mean, like it was we tweeted out a GIF of Patrick Starr doing a flip on a banana peel. It literally looked like that. It was hilarious.
Right.
And he had a shot that went just wide, right? So he's one of those guys that if you get him the ball in the attacking third, he could get you a goal at any time.
I
And
think
so
so
I would
too.
love to see him get into a rhythm and score because I think he has the potential to score a lot of goals for us. So he's a guy I'd like to see a little bit more. I'm interested to follow, what kind of role we end up using him in, if he's going to fight for the starting role or if he's going to be that guy that, near the end of the game, we need a goal. We're looking to Kakuta. You know what I mean? Like Kakuta is a guy that
Right.
can go in and get us a goal, right?
Yeah.
So, I would like to see him more. I would like to see like I said, what kind of role he ends up falling into, because I think either way, he's going to be a big asset to us, whether he ends up starting and playing the whole games, or if we go to him, as a relief pitcher, if you will, or a closer,
Right.
to
Yeah.
go in and get that last goal because he's an absolute goal machine when he's in the mood. So,
Yeah. And
um,
I think it's gonna be interesting to kind of see how he's been used. I don't think he's exactly lived up to, I think, a lot of people's potential. Now he's back in Austin. We've seen a lot of times in the past in other sports as well,
mhm,
when a guy kind of comes back home, if that makes sense. You know, it can be big for them. I follow him on Instagram. He's been posting on pictures of him and his family. He's probably really excited to be back
mhm,
home, and I'm hoping that that will, kind of bring out the best in him because he left Lake Travis at a very young age. He went to the Vancouver Whitecaps, and they were talking about how he was living in America because at that time we thought he could be a men's national team player. He was
yep,
living in America and traveling every day over the border to play for the Whitecaps, so he could try and get enough days in America to become an American citizen. So he definitely has had some ups and downs. He went to Europe for a bit, but I think he could be a good player. And the one player I think I would probably like to see a little more from is Cecilio.
mhm,
Um, I thought he was good in his movement in times, but he did seem a little like he was pushing, like he was trying to force the issue a bit. The people who are Club America fans weren't too thrilled when we signed him.
mhm,
He's kind of I would say he's probably our biggest signing in a way. Him or Pochettino. I mean, he was our first, designated player, so
mhm.
it's going to be kind of interesting to see, if he starts off slow, if the naysayers start to come out a little bit more as well, and just kind of how that's handled.
So what I will say about that is, and my message to the naysayers would be like, guys, we played 90 minutes.
Right.
This is 90 minutes in our history, right? So even if he doesn't start out at 100%, I'm willing to give him at least the first, quarter to half a
Of course.
season before we start saying, okay, this isn't going to work out.
Right. Before you
Because
even really think about it.
yeah, I mean, brand new squad, brand new city, brand new style of play, brand new coach, brand new everything. You're starting from
Right.
scratch. Yes, we had a lot of players that started out flying and doing really well. That's the outlier, right? I mean, most of the
Right.
time you expect a guy to struggle a little bit at the beginning. I mean, even when a player goes to a new club, right? Let
It takes
alone let
time.
alone a brand new entire franchise
Yeah,
with a
literally,
new
yeah,
everything. Just goes to a
right.
new club, you expect them to start a little slowly and then they build
Mhm.
into their potential, right?
Of
So
course.
everybody calm down. I think I agree. I think Cecilio could have done better. I think he did try and force and do a little too much, and maybe he's feeling the pressure of being our first designated player signing. That's a complete possibility.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that the potential is there. Like you said, he had some good movement at times. He seemed like he was understanding the flow of play. He was understanding our style of play.
Right.
But he was trying to force it a bit. He was trying to do a little much. He was maybe a little slow on his decision making. But like I said, brand new everything. Let's give the guys some grace. Let's give them a little time to get their legs under him, as you'd say. But no,
Right.
I completely agree. I think Cecilio could have done a little better. And then finally, I just want to mention, like I said, we need to add a little more pace in our back line. I think that Beasler's an older guy. He hasn't got the legs. Cascante's older. And I'm blanking on the name of the Colombian center back that started
Oh,
alongside
Romana.
Romana. I actually really liked
Yeah.
him. I thought he did well.
Yeah, he's
What
still
I
a
would
nice
like to
young
see,
player.
what I would like to see from our back line is to try and calm down and be a little more ball playing, especially in the
Right.
center back areas. Calm down, play with Alex Ring in the middle, play with our outside backs. Don't be afraid to spray a ball to our wingers if they're open. Um, but make those decisions a little bit faster. I think there were times that our center
Right.
backs kind of dwelled on the ball a little bit, and that put us under pressure, and we gave the ball away. So that's one thing I did notice from the game is we've tried to play out of the back a lot, and this also comes back to keeper distribution because he put our defenders in positions sometimes that
Right.
weren't super favorable. And with a new team with new center backs, it's kind of tough to play out of the back right from the start.
Right.
And we got
Of
caught. We
course.
got caught a couple times because of that. And Houston had some good chances that we kind of got lucky that they couldn't put them on target. So that's another thing I think that Wolf needs to look at. He needs to probably train the guys up a bit more on. All right, we have the ball at our center backs. Now the other team is pressing. How do we get the ball out? And I'm never a huge fan of playing kickball. I hate it. I love building out of the back, but we need to realize that, if you look up, your first option's taken, you receive the ball, now you look up, your second option's taken, you don't have time to look for a third option. You got to get rid,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Right. Of course.
you should know where you're going before you get the ball. If you look up and where you think you're going is taken, you take your touch, you try and find another option. If that's taken too, get rid. Get rid. I don't care if we lose the ball, 3/4 of the way down the field. I don't want to lose it from our center backs, 20 yards in front of our goal. You
Yeah.
know
Of
what I mean?
course. Of
And that's a
course.
very simplified version, and people say, "Oh, it's very, typical American kick the ball." But I mean, you got to be smart about it. It's a field possession or it's a field position type thing. Like, I mean, would you rather lose the ball at your own 20 or lose it, in their defensive third?
Right.
If you're
No.
gonna
Of
lose the
course.
ball, lose it down there, right? So I think
No.
that
For sure.
that also comes with the comfort of maybe our keeper gives them a shout like get rid or clear or whatever it is. But it's a work in progress. I think that we showed symptoms of it being a work in progress. But from what I saw overall, I'm happy with what it looks like we're building. Would you say
Yeah. No.
that's
I
fair?
agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And speaking of building, they finished building our St. David's training facility.
they
Looked
did.
beautiful. The locker room
Oh,
looked awesome. The weight room looked awesome.
gorgeous.
The field looked great. So
Yeah, it was
yeah, I mean it was awesome.
what was it, 45 million
Yeah,
privately
something like
funded. I
that.
mean, the weight room looked amazing. They've got all the training facilities and the weight room and the recovery area,
Yeah.
locker room, all of that in the same building overlooking the two fields. The fields look absolutely gorgeous, like golf greens. I mean, it's a spectacular training facility. It really,
No, it
really is.
is.
I
It
mean,
looks like a college football facility, honestly. It really
yeah, I
does.
mean,
Like it looks like something you'd see a college football program have.
it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. I mean, like I've seen like it looked better than I watched a documentary a couple of years ago on Watford's like a day in the life of a Watford
Oh
player.
yeah, yeah.
And it looked on par with like Watford's training
Yeah,
facilities.
that's
And
pretty
Watford's a
nice.
Premier League team, or they were at the
Right.
time. I mean, like these are not we're not slacking on these. So
Right.
super happy with that. I'm glad that we're not sparing the expense, and being like, oh well, they can just play at some fields and we'll upgrade later. Like,
Right.
we were at St. Edwards for a while, which is okay for a temporary home, but I mean,
Yeah.
we needed our own training facility, and I'm glad they look as good as they do. So
Right. I
it's
agree.
it's just a statement of intent. It's
Mhm.
we're serious about this. We want to be good. We want to provide the best for our players. We want to go and win championships. So this is the way you do it. You start from the bottom up, you build a base, and then that's how you attract good players. So super happy, super happy about that. And other news, just kind of a quick blur, but the Austin FC squad has gotten their first round of COVID vaccines, which is really
Yep.
good.
Very
So
exciting.
fingers
Very
crossed we're
exciting.
not going to be
Yeah.
losing any players for a couple weeks due to a COVID exposure or whatever. If everyone's
Yeah.
vaccinated, we should be good
Yeah.
because
I think a lot of a lot of professional sports teams and such are gonna start doing this soon, especially as Texas allows it to everybody. I got my first dose the other day, so
hmm hmm
I think we're as this becomes more readily available, I think that's awesome. That's really exciting. Like you said, hopefully we don't
yeah.
lose any players. Hopefully MLS doesn't have to cancel games and all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah, no, and I mean, let this be a lesson to all of us as fans. Like you said, you got your first dose of the vaccine, but like if you haven't already, make sure you register, go and get your vaccine before you go to the stadium.
Yeah,
Just be safe about it, and the faster we all get this behind us, the faster we can go back to having the full stadiums and having the atmosphere that we want to create. So,
of
do your
course.
due diligence. It'll take a quarter of a day, maybe. Sign up online, easy enough, get
Yeah,
it done. Handle
It,
it.
it
So,
is. It's relatively easy. It was no problem at all. I had a bit of an experience with it when I was there. They literally forgot about me, and then I was like, hey, when am I ever gonna get this? And like, oh, we gave all the doses for the day, and I was like, y'all skip me. So, but I
yeah.
got it. So we're
You
good.
got it.
But yeah,
You got it. That's the point. You
yeah,
got it. You got it. So last thing I wanted to talk about was the Austin food. What was it?
512
Austin
foods.
512 Food Co-op, right? So,
Yeah,
and local culinary stuff that's going into the stadium. They released a list of the kind of restaurants and stuff that's gonna be in the stadium. It's kind of a long list, so I'm just gonna pick out the ones that I'm really excited of. Bowed Up, which if you don't know what a bao is it's a I'm going to say an Asian because I'm not sure the country of origin. It's an Asian style bun, usually stuffed with
yeah.
like a barbecue pork or
Mhm.
beef or something like that, and it's delicious. I used to go to Bound Up a
Right.
lot when I was working in person at the office. There was a location right by us. Um, Absolutely delicious. I know you're excited about the double Daves.
Oh, I love their pizza
Oh,
rolls. I know that is like really basic. People are gonna be like, of all the places, double days, but man, those
oh
pizza
man,
rolls, you get them in some ranch, dude. I swear to
dude.
God, especially on
Especially
Tuesdays.
especially after you're going to the breweries before the game, so
Oh,
you're getting a little buzz on. You get the drunchies a little bit, and I'm gonna absolutely smash pizza rolls, man.
oh
Oh
my
my
God,
gosh, it's
me
gonna be
too.
so bad. Obviously, shout out One Taco. They've been big supporters of
Yeah,
us, so they're gonna be in the stadium. I am super excited because I'm gonna run out of room in my stomach, but one taco and pizza rolls and lots of beer and soccer sounds like an
right.
absolute hell of a day. So
I will say I'm not 100% sure about wings at a soccer game or wings at a sporting event in general, but I do love Pluckers. It's
yeah,
like my
for our
one of
wing
my favorite
fans,
restaurants in
there
Austin.
will be pluckers there. I could smash some boneless wings in the stadium. I don't know about bone in. I feel like that would get a little messy, but
Yeah,
like I could,
right.
little some little nuggets. Yeah, I could smash some nuggets.
That's what I was thinking too, man. I was like, I'm not really sure if I'm like going down on some bone wings, and then
hmm
you're like your hands are
Yeah,
all
you got
dirty,
the
and you're like
hands
watching
and
this game.
you're
So
sitting there. I don't know what to do with my hands.
I
Um,
know,
and then Taco Deli, obviously, very good, very Austin based. They're going to be in a I think an opposite section from One Taco. So if you're on one
right?
side of the stadium, maybe easier to get One Taco. Other side's probably easier to get Taco Deli. Neither are bad options. Very excited.
Yes,
And then obviously there's the beer hall that is going to be in the north building. Um, so they have come out and said there will be 16 tap assortments of draft beers, including a selection of local craft beers.
right.
So what that sounds like to me is they're going to have your basic like Budweiser and Miller and the cheap beers, and then there's going to be probably like I don't know, 10 local beers, something like that. Which I'm cool with. My big thing is I wanted there to be local beers represented there, and local businesses in general, which I'm really happy with
Of
the
course.
food selection that we don't have in a real kind of nationwide like McDonald's or generic like chili cheese dog stands. You know what I mean?
Right. And I
It's all local stuff, which I'm really really a big fan of, and I
right.
think that fits Austin really well.
Right. And if you haven't downloaded the app yet, which you should have to A, watch the
Mm,
games, but
mm.
B, they said you're going to be able to. I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to order food and drinks from the concession stands on your food in the app. So you just pull up your app, you get it taken care of, and then you go and go pick up your food. I'm not sure exactly how that's
That
going to work. So if it's
that
not,
is what we call innovation, my man.
yeah, if it's not a smooth
Because
process, don't look at me. But that's what
dude,
they said they're going to
I'm
do.
telling you, like if we could get it to the point, and this is my ideal world for that, and this is the first time I've heard that, so you've just taught me something. But my ideal world is, oh, it's the 35th minute. I'm gonna get two beers and a one taco and six pizza rolls. I'm gonna get these all ordered, and then all you have to do is show up, scan your QR code, someone grabs your order that's already made because you ordered it 10 minutes ago, brings it out to you, and you're back to the seats, and that
Right.
knocks out like a huge like.
Yeah,
Usually
no
when
more
you go
standing
to a
in
soccer
line.
game, yeah, when you go to a soccer game, you try and leave like a couple minutes before halftime whistle blows. You go stand in line, and then you're lucky if you get back to your seats before the
Yeah.
before the second half starts, right? So if we can get this streamlined and get it going,
I will say the best is when you go to a game and you're sitting in a little nicer seats, but then people come to you and ask you what
uh,
you want, and then you order the food, and then they bring it to you, and you don't have to leave your seat. I've done that a few times, and it's like living like a king, man.
box seats Avery over here.
Oh my god, it's living like a king, dude. I'm not saying I'm the one who paid for him, but I will say it's nice life.
And other news, there's going to be two Michelob Ultra bars. Those will be northeast and
Okay.
behind the premium terrace. I would assume they're just going to sell Michelob Ultra,
Yeah.
but
Well,
beer is beer. Especially on a
right.
hot day, Michelob Ultra is actually not a bad shout because it's
Mm-mm.
very close to water. No
Like
offense, Michelob, please
I
sponsor us,
would
but
I would say, first game, show up early and just walk around the stadium and see where everything is.
yeah,
That'd be my advice.
definitely.
Just go
Yeah,
on a
yeah.
stroll.
And then the one other thing I wanted to highlight is there's going to be Austin East Ciders. I
Yeah,
don't know if that's going to be sold out of other like stands or if they're going to have their own thing or what the deal is, but there will be Austin East Ciders there for our maybe gluten intolerant fans or just non beer drinkers. There will
yeah,
be good cider there. So super super excited about that.
no, for
Uh,
sure.
but yeah, I mean, one other thing I wanted to mention, just as we're wrapping up here, we retweeted a article from who was it?
I think it was just an MLS tweeted about it.
Hmm.
Yeah, just basically talking about what their predictions are for Austin FC this season. What lineup they think will be running,
Hmm.
how high we'll finish. I think there's in a little article attached to it as well. But
Yeah, so
yeah,
check out our
I
Twitter. It's at Talk Austin FC. Check that out. Should be pretty good. I'm excited to read it. I know you've already read through it, so
right.
should be pretty cool. And then last but not least, talking about predictions. At the time of filming, which is Monday, the NCAA championship hasn't happened yet. Who's your prediction, man? Who you got?
That's a really good question. I would say I'm gonna go with Gonzaga just because I want them to win.
Mm,
So yeah, let's do
gonna go for
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
Yeah,
That's a safe bet, man. I'm not gonna lie. My logical brain thinks Gonzaga's probably gonna win it. They've had a tough run. They're undefeated the whole season, and they look really good.
right.
But I'm gonna go with the local team, man. Baylor Bears.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
I would
I'm
say
excited. I think they have a great front court or back court. Sorry.
yeah.
They've got some really really good guards, and I think Donovan Mitchell's younger brother, right?
I don't think they're related,
They're both named Mitchell, and they both wear
and they both
45.
wear
So
45.
I'm
I
going
could
to
be
assume they're
wrong, but
brothers. But
I don't think they're related. Maybe they
fair enough.
are,
Either
but I
way,
don't think they
they look
are.
very good. Also, they have that one kid from Austin with the huge mullet, which I respect
Oh
the hell
yeah,
out of. Mullet gang for life.
that's
So
right,
super
right.
excited about that.
Westlake's finest.
Yeah, Westlake's finest. So, guys, let us know if you have any comments. If you want to enter your prediction into our non-existent sweepstakes, make sure to comment on the video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave us a like. Subscribe for more. We're going to do this every single Sunday, and then moving into the season, we're going to be doing match build-up videos where we have predicted 11s. We're going to try and get other YouTubers slash journalists on with us for opposition reports. We're coming up with a lot of cool stuff. We'll also be coming out with a vlog of my trip to Colorado. I'm going to go watch us play Colorado Rapids in our second ever game, or second ever MLS game, excuse me. So that'll be really fun. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. We appreciate all y'all, watching our videos, following us on Twitter. Y'all are the reason we do this. So, yeah, thanks so much. We'll talk to you next week, guys. Later,
guys.